All right, everybody. Good afternoon. The meeting has officially been called to order, so we can get started. First item on the agenda, public comments. Angela, is there anything you would like to address at the board?
Hi, yeah, good afternoon. I have a few comments, yes. One is I understand that there are multiple candidates for the upcoming board election. I'm curious as to how many candidates, if we know all of their names, if we're announcing all their names, places on ballot, and when the election details will be announced to the residents. Will we be communicating that via our mass messaging system that we've stood up? Regarding the capital improvement plan, there's an item to update our chlorine something or other. And my question is that we discussed in a previous meeting that our emergency water from West Park, who's a part of the West Harris County Regional Water Authority, and they're converting to surface water by 25. We receive the majority of our emergency water from them, and our updates won't be able, shouldn't we be updating to be able to receive emergency water from surface or consider it? Because if we do the updates and then they convert, then we can't accept it. Just kind of long-term thinking, how do we navigate that? In addition to long-term thinking, our contract with 216, what is the duration of it? When can it be renegotiated? My understanding is that we are required to pay for 30 million gallons of water from them per year, whether or not we take it. And we haven't taken any or anywhere near the 30 million gallons for 2 years now. I'm also curious, I know that Schwartz, Page, and Harding is familiar with SB 239 from 2019, and I'm curious how many of the sitting board directors are familiar with that particular statute, that there needs to be justification on why a meeting is not held within 10 miles of the district, and that 5 electors can ask, and it has to be moved. There is a accessibility concern. Residents cannot easily make it 20 miles to the Galleria at noon on a weekday to participate or engage. It's very difficult. A compromise would be broadcasting it virtually, so at least they could observe. A better compromise would be having a virtual meeting, when I understand that y'all had that during the height of the pandemic. So there are some options for accessibility that I'd like to request the board consider. And I'm curious if Inframark, the board, etc., have communicated with the HOA and we've figured out who is actually responsible for fixing the horrendous curb ramp replacement that happened as a result of contractors. My understanding is that the HOA has said that it is the MUD's and Inframark's responsibility, and y'all have expressed that is not the case, and someone needs to figure out how we can fix that.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right. Let's see. Election details. I can send you an email with additional information. The board is posting the notice of the election in the precinct where the district is located, as required in accordance with the Texas Election Code, 21 days prior to the election. I cannot address the capital improvement chlorine. Jason, if you want to briefly address that.
Yes. As Angela mentioned, I did confirm with the West Park mud engineer, district engineer, that the tentative plan is that they will be receiving surface water in 2025. And so what we have to consider is we are also providing water to Harris County 346, which has the hospital. So the chloramine conversion and having all the equipment necessary to be able to take that water has to be considered, and if we need to do that. Ms. Smith is correct that if they do convert to surface water, we cannot take their water with our system in place. So I am still working with our wastewater treatment plant division to understand what all needs to happen. Obviously, if we do want to continue to have an emergency supply, we would have to upgrade our system just in the case we do take emergency water from them. But I'm still working through those issues. Trying to understand.
Okay. All right. Once you've done that, just let me know so we can include an item on the agenda to discuss, just
Okay.
since West Park is the only district we have an emergency interconnect with that can serve the none of our other emergency interconnects can.
Yes.
So if something happened with the district as well, we're on
Chloramines.
Chloramine, thank you, Angela. I understand the confusion. On chloramines, that could be done. All right. The 216 agreement, we are going to be talking about that on the agenda. Senate Bill 2039 board, as you guys know, although Mike, maybe you don't, but after every legislative session, our firm comes up with a legislative summary that addresses all of the bills that predominantly affect municipal utility districts, water districts, other districts that we represent. One of those was Senate Bill, I think 2039. Angela, is that 2038?
239, I believe, is what.
239. Okay, thanks. 239, and that is where residents can request boards move their meetings out into the district. The district, if they get that request from 5 residents, then yes, they will move it out, and the board can determine whether that being like feasible or not. You all have not received that request, so unless and until you do, that's up to you where you guys want to hold those meetings, as you guys know. Sidewalk repair, was that the other one? That is a question for Alan and Robert. I understand they talked to you right before the last meeting on what the district's policy is, what the district handles, and if y'all would like us to advise the Green Trails HOA about it, we can, but if you guys want to address the board with what the district does.
So for Inframark, any sidewalk or driveway work that we do would be as a result of us having to remove panels to access a repair for the district, water line, sewer line, and then we would put that panel back once we were done. Everything's been repaired. But as far as I guess if there was a broken curb or something like that, that's just in the district, whether it's age or settling or whatnot. It's Inframark doesn't touch that. We only touch concrete if it's in water repairs.
So to clarify, it was something that was damaged as a result of Ezee fiber. I know that y'all didn't bless it. This is what the HOA's perspective is, from my understanding. The damage was done because of the contractor, and a contractor with Ezee or someone fixed it, and I use that term very loosely because it looks like Play-Doh. And so when I brought it up to the HOA, thinking that they would be interested in having a nice curb ramp, they said it was Inframark because the president said Inframark contracted with Ezee Fiber. I am not going to get into whether or not that's accurate or not. I am just saying, I'm repeating. So that's where the confusion. So it's not like a settling thing. It's a contractor.
Yeah,
Just,
I mean, I
just
can
to be clear.
confirm Ezee Fiber and Inframark have no working relationship of any sort.
Usually sidewalks fall under the county, if I'm not mistaken. And since this is an outside contractor that was doing work in the utilities and it doesn't have anything to do with the mud or with Inframark, I believe that the recourse would probably be to go to the county and see if they would be willing to repair it, or if they would know after Ezee Fiber with their, maybe they had a bond with the county for that work, and have them repair it correctly.
Did I miss anything else?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Board, is there anything you guys would like to address with All right, agenda item 2 is review and approve the minutes of the January 29th and February 19th board meetings. Those were circulated last week when the agenda went out. We did not get any comments prior to today's meeting. Of course, if you have any, please let us know. If there are none, just need a motion to approve both sets of minutes as written. All right, we got a motion by Dave. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 3 is the bookkeepers report.
Board, everybody should have a copy of the March report. Frank has the cover page. On page 2 is the spotlight of the month. This is focusing on our wholesale water providers feeding the city of Houston. It shows you the pump for water rate, average rate, and the surface water which we're not taking. And then over on the right, it shows some other water authorities and following that, on page 3 is the monthly financial summary for your operating funds. We have a fund balance of over $9 million, and our current funds reserves at the bottom for January 24 is 60 based on our actual revenues. Page 4 shows the cash activity. We have 23 checks for your approval today. We did just do our year-end and audit data, so we have a couple items that are annual. Like the true reserve payment to the plant, the water plant, the sewer treatment plant, as well as the reimbursement to the drought water plant for the water well motor repair that was done back in May of 2020. On the following page is your cash activity for your operating account. We did collect $96,000 of people for the month of January, not reported here because the audit had to date it for year end. Pages 6 through 9 show your actual versus budget comparison. Left 3 columns is reporting the month of January, and your right 3 is your year to date. The year, this is unaudited data, but we're looking for the fiscal year. If you look on page 9, you'll see at the bottom that we did better than budgeted by about $804,000. Page 10 and 11 is your balance sheet as of January 31st. Page 12, you'll see your sewer treatment plant fund. We have a fund balance of just over $150,000. We have 6 checks for your approval today on 13. And on 14 and 15, you'll see the actual budget comparison for the full year for the plant. On page 16 is your drought water plant fund. We have a fund balance of just over $250,000. Next page will show your cash flow activity. We have 9 checks for your approval. 18 and 19 is your actual budget comparison. Pages 20 and 21 is your investment profile and your account balance as of today. The market is stabilizing a little bit. It's gradually decreasing. Money market rate, we're at 5.47%. We do have a couple of banks that are still offering us that 5% rate. Ones that I had looked into this morning were 5%, 5.15%, and 5.25%. In case you wanted to lock in at least one for 1 year investment, I wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yeah, I want to move. First one for a year. Is that your recommendation to
I
try
would
and do that?
recommend that, yes.
Yeah.
At least we have the highest one right now being offered is at 5.25, but that will lock in for a year, and then if you just gradually increase, I'll go ahead and do that.
Sure.
And then page 22 and 23 is your cash flow forecast with your new fiscal year's data at 52 months reserves at the end of the fiscal year. Page 24 is your sales tax revenue history. We collected $4,500 for the month of December. And the last few pages is your quarterly investment report for the quarter ending January 31st. Is all your interest earnings. That's all I have unless you have any questions.
Any questions for you now? All right, then if we can get a motion to approve the bookkeeper's report, authorize payment of the invoices presented, approve the quarterly investment inventory report, authorize your investment officers to sign on behalf of the board, and then authorize municipal accounts to purchase.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Smith? All right, agenda item 4 is an annual housekeeping item. It is authorizing your consultants to research unclaimed property and then authorizing your bookkeeper and tax assessor collector to prepare an unclaimed property report as of March 1, 2024. So as a reminder, there is potentially some money in district accounts that does not belong to the district, whether that is water, sewer, security or deposits. And then a homeowner leaves but never actually gets the refund. They move, don't cash their check. That money is still sitting in the district's account, or tax refund. That money does not belong to the district, but it might be sitting in the district's accounts. So you authorize your tax assessor, collector, and bookkeeper to look into their accounts. If there is any money, they will prepare an unclaimed property report for your review and approval, and you will then sheet all those funds to the state. So that way, if an old resident or customer is trying to collect that money, they go directly to the state, collect it. So this is that step 1 as of March 1. Any questions? All right, we get a motion.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 5. Val?
All right, good afternoon, board. If you want to pull out your Wheeler report, we started the month of February off with $857,668. Taxes collected, $144,524. After last month's disbursements, left the district at $327,267.06. This month's disbursements, $205,107, leaving cash balance at $122,159.29. I've brought 18 checks for your review and approval today. $51.95 is your quarterly assessment to the appraisal district. The rest of those are going back to taxpayers in the district. Then you have one wire transfer. Following page is your historical. The district was at 95.80% collected at the end of February. As of today, you're at 96.10. Final page is your calculation of cash, breakdown of your income and disbursements. Does anyone have any questions for me?
All right, I don't hear any questions. You do?
Good.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve the tax assessor collector's report and authorize payment of the invoices.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 6 is the district's delinquent tax collection attorney's report. We do not have a quarterly report for you all today. Agenda item 7, engineer's report.
Good afternoon, board. If you follow along with my engineering report, at the item 7A at the previous board meeting, I had presented the 10-year capital improvement plan with the projects coming up this 2024 and 2025 year. The board had requested a presentation of engineering proposals for 3 of the major projects which we want to start now. The first one is the water plant phase 1 improvements, and apologize, board, if it's out of order compared to my engineering report. I believe the water plant phase 1 proposal is the bottom one on your stack. Should say proposal for 2024 water plant improvements. Everybody see that? And this is the scope of the work for the 2024 water plants matches what we have on the CIP. With that first paragraph, the proposed improvements were to include to do the recoating of the ground storage tank, number 1, recoating pressure tank number 2, and the recoating of the CMU block building, and recoating the generator enclosure, replace the booster pumps, and replace the building roof material. Our proposal and scope is described here with these different tasks. And on the second page is the total proposal for $127,500 for board approval. It includes the coating inspection there. If you look on the just above the total, Roman numeral number 4, coating inspection. Okay. So that's the first proposal. The second proposal, to match what's on my engineering report, is the second water well with the natural gas generator. That proposal is titled Proposal for Remote Well. The scope is discussed in that first paragraph there, with including the not only the water well, but the natural gas generator, the well site improvements, connection to the 12-inch water line interconnect that's on Kingsland in the median there, and the access road. As you go through the proposal, those are the for all the subtasks, the items for all those tasks there with our scope. And if you go to page 4, this is obviously the big number back here. On page 4, the total cost is $549,500. Our scope.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if you'll know, but on the first page it says platting is not in the scope. After the district owns that, will we get that replatted?
That's what our platting guys are trying to figure out and run that trap with the city, because it's based on what the existing usage or how it was recorded. And so I think we don't need to plat it, but they're still running that trap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask because it says it's in the second Baptist district plat, so I
Yeah.
assume that might need to be redone.
Yes,
but
yes.
I
Once
don't know.
we own it, yeah. But
Okay.
So this is all of the pre-work that we need to do to get to the actual construction work, correct? Simply
this is
put,
putting the plans together, all the approvals. The end product is a plan set where we go out for bid. Yes.
Okay.
This is just the engineering
all the
services.
engineering pre-work.
Yes. Now, what is not included is there. If you look on the first page, there is the geotech. We will probably need not probably. We will need to hire a geotech. So we will have ask Nino and Moore for a separate proposal for the geotech for the water well.
At what point do you hire that person?
What? I'm sorry, David.
At what point do you hire the geotech? Is that this year as well?
When we get closer to construction, yes.
What was the total price of our well estimated?
How
many million?
It was a 3.
6.
Oh, 6. Yes, yes,
Around 6.
yes.
With generators.
With the
generator. With the
That's
generator.
Right. That's right.
3.6.
No, it's about 6 million.
Yes.
Hold that. Got it. Guys.
And would be buried.
Yeah, we have here.
80%.
I'm looking on the
Yes, y'all do 80%.
I'm looking on the CIP here chart. We have 5.7, 5.8.
Yeah. It was 5.857, and y'all would pay 80%.
Do you have a rough idea what the geotechnical investigation cost ballpark?
Maybe 25.
25K.
Yeah. But I can start touching base with the geotech.
And Jason,
Yes.
I just saw this based off Angela's comment, but we have in here that the chlorination system in the FRP building, when you think about the West Park,
Yes.
where do you think about that as well?
Okay.
What that needs to, I don't know if that changes the cost at all, but I just saw that.
All right. That's the second proposal there. And then the last proposal is the wastewater treatment plant phase 1. First paragraph on the first page talks about the improvements that we talked about on the CIP. The proposed improvements include adding a mechanical fine screen with headworks, replacing the blowers, including the panels, replace lift station valves, install a skid-mounted non-potable water system with pumps and pressure controls to serve both of the treatment units, replace building roof material, recoat the CMU block building, and replace the drain pipe if needed. Scope of work for all the tasks are described following that first page. And the second page totals up the cost there. And the total is $246,000. And it includes Roman numeral 4 with coding inspection.
So again, this is all the engineering and preparation and design work. Is there anything that's not included in that? And like the geotechnical component?
I will ask that, but I don't think my group has told me that there was any geotechnical needed on this part. But I'll
Or yeah, or any. It looks like this is everything, right? As far as engineering and design work, there's no other add-on pieces.
Right.
I want to just say one thing, board, so you guys know. The proposals all have Pape Dawson engineers. Jason, I can't remember if we talked about this a couple months ago when it went into effect, but Costello was bought out by Pape Dawson, and so they still are going by Costello, but they're Pape Dawson. Our firm is working on a form of assignment for all of our districts that have Costello as the engineer. But all of these proposals are in accordance with your original agreement with Costello. So just wanted to point.
And apologize. Yeah, this will be. Our Costello sign is gone, so we are officially.
Oh, you are.
Probably,
you are.
Yeah,
okay.
they removed that, and this will probably be the last report with that Costello
Okay.
letterhead. We got the official word to start moving towards the end of an era.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
Just for the total project of the wastewater. So what's the fee for that? That's
For that phase one, Jason, I think that's a question for you.
David, I'm sorry.
what's the total estimate for the wastewater treatment plant improvement?
The probable cost for the construction, just the construction.
So all in, you got the construction plus, I assume that includes any procurement of materials.
There you go. I'm just going to take all the amounts here listed for each of these components. 100 plus 55, 200. 100 plus 41, 400. 240, 400 plus 960. So the construction cost from the CIP was estimated to be 2.1 million.
2.1 million. So
For water plant phase 1.
That was water plant phase one or wastewater
Water
treatment?
Oh, wastewater treatment. Yeah, I'm sorry. Wastewater plant phase 1, items A through G on the CIP.
it's about 2.6,
2.1.
2.1 million.
Yes, sir.
And then the new water well we said was 3.6.
No,
No,
5.
almost
Six.
6. But don't forget, these costs are shared.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
not just the district, but
Wastewater plants, 33% or so.
Yes, sir.
yes.
33.51.
Yeah. And the timing on the wastewater, is there any specific driver other than, it's time to do that? Is there, we seeing any degradation that says we need to do it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Luckily we have another unit that they switched over. So while that's being used, we can work on this to get all the improvements done on the treatment that's offline right now.
So we have it's fully redundant, the wastewater.
Correct,
right?
yes.
And what's the timing on getting this implemented?
We are trying to get that all in 2025. So we have to do the design and get all
Yeah.
the approvals, yeah.
Right,
So
right.
the water plant number one on the CIP that we're trying to do now, we're trying to get that done sometime this year. So, but the other two, the second water well with the natural gas generator and the wastewater phase one is in 2025, but we need to do this now also.
For the water plant improvement project, does the district have to be offline at all for it? Or is it done in like stages where you don't actually have to take it offline?
I think we can do it in stages, can we?
I would think so. If need be for like booster pumps, we have like a rental put in, like pull one out, put a rental in, and that runs while everything's being done, sort of thing. So we can keep it up and going.
Just think about that time-wise. If something goes wrong, maybe don't do it over the summer months. I don't know how long design and all
No,
that stuff takes.
I know that our water plant group has definitely said not during the water.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, then we should
For
do
sure.
it. Just wanted to point that out. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anything else with respect to the engineer's report?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
That was 7A. So moving on to 7B, status of construction for the generators. The generators at the two lift stations, Kate and Rhett, I sent you pictures that both of those generators are installed. The contractor has requested gas service for those early this week. I followed up to ask how long does that typically take, and working with Centerpoint on that. He hasn't gotten back to me on that, but no pay estimate to present this month, but I suspect next month. Have a pay.
Any idea how long it takes to get the gas hooked up?
No, that's what I asked, and
No.
he didn't respond yet.
I mean, in your experience, is it a month? Is it 3 months? Any idea?
No, I'm not sure.
Jason and Robert, something to think about with that. I can't remember for the district's generator rental. I think we got one for the lift station and one for the wastewater treatment plant. So when that's online, remember to cancel that rental
100%,
agreement, at least for the lift station. We have more time for the wastewater treatment
Yes.
plant.
Yeah.
For the joint wastewater treatment plant, again, it's still tracking to beginning of next month for that delivery. Item C and D, none to report on that. Item 7E, the hike and bike trail repairs with Harris County Precinct 4. The 346 district engineer had emailed recently Precinct 4 when the new call for projects are. In fact, they actually emailed this morning as well to try to check on that. So when that new cycle will be open so they can submit their proposal for the hike and bike trail repair. And item F, the status of the service line inventory required for the new lead and copper regulations, no update on that particular. Now, that concludes my report, other than the action items with.
Y'all have any questions, other questions for Jason?
Any idea as far as West Park is converted 2025? Does that speed up in anything, timing on 345, 345?
It might. I mean, that's
The surface water conversion as
not conversion, not whether 345 will be converted to surface water. Wait, is that what you were asking?
Just wondering if it's that close there, if West Park converts.
Right.
they're in a different regional water authority. We're in the city of Houston.
Right.
So in talking with the meeting that we had with the other districts like Mason Park,
Right.
and that Mike and Robert and I attended, it still wasn't foreseen that we'll get surface water to our district until a number of years. But our interconnects is
Yes.
what we're trying. We need to
No,
kind of think
exactly.
about.
But I'm just
right?
wondering if there's, if they're working on theirs, does that speed up the process, for us too then, as far as, anything other than what they're doing with their chlorinated system?
Not that I know of. I mean,
Y'all are a part of a different regional one, where you
Yes.
guys are part of the city.
We are, yeah.
Just trying to think of something Jason might be able to help with the ramp that Angela brought up. Do you know, Jason, do you know the location of that, and have you seen a picture of it?
no, I have not.
I
I
can
don't know
do
what you
that
guys
too.
think. My suggestion is, because we have no action item to resolve this, right? There is no action item. And it doesn't sound like the HOA has an action item or a plan to address the use. So my suggestion is, the engineer commonly interacts with Precinct 4 at Harris County. And my thought is similar to Inframark's, is if that Ezee Fiber had a bond to work in the right of way, which they should have, then maybe Jason, if he can get a picture of it and the exact location, and get the Harris County 4 precinct coordinator to agree, yeah, this is substandard, right, unsatisfactory work, and they can be the hammer to get it fixed. So maybe it's a little extra time on Jason's part, but if we're willing to pay Jason, whatever time that takes, it's at least an action plan to begin to address.
Right.
At least like start an email correspondence
Yeah.
to reach out to say, hey, this,
Yeah, get some wheels turning on
Right.
this. Right. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
so just send a picture to me and then forward it to me.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Happy to do that.
And forward it to me, and then I'll work on reaching out to Precinct 4 on the
Yep.
issue. Okay.
And Angela, approximately where is this? Is this on Crescent Green? Or?
Crescent Green and I thought it was on Sapphire. Do I have in my notes? It's Crescent Green and I don't have my notes with me. I switched. Yeah, Crescent Green and Crescent Parkway.
Crescent Parkway. Okay. Thank you.
It'll be very obvious.
Okay. Well, if there is nothing else with respect to the engineer's report, is there a motion to approve the 3 proposals? The only thing I would like to add with respect to the proposed water well is approve that subject to getting that phase 1 environmental site assessment. There's no point in starting design if the site's not suitable for a second water well.
Sure.
Motion.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll put that y'all concurred me to Jason to at least send the request to the.
Right.
Okay. All right, agenda item 8 is the status of the acquisition of property owned by Second Baptist Church for that second water well. We will discuss that in closed session. Agenda item 9, the operator's report.
Well, good afternoon, board. You grab my report and flip past the cover page here. Got a few action items to go through here today. First one is going to be our repairs that we found in regards to our annual fire hydrant survey. So if you flip past a couple pages, you'll see our summary, and then the next few pages will have a list in very tiny print of all the different fire hydrants and their status within the district. And so we do have one that is an immediate repair. It's at the very top of the list. It's the hydrant stem, spins without stopping, and there's no pressure there. So that's one we need to get up in service as soon as possible. The other ones are marked as a priority 2. We do have on this full list about $17,300 worth of repairs. About 4,300 of that's going to be, you'll see it, hydrant with wrench not spinning. And basically that means that it's just, in the event, they'll just have to like dig out an inch or 2 of dirt to get it to spin easily. So it's not affecting the hydrant or its usage or anything like that. It's a cosmetic type item. But the remaining repairs, the $12,950, are going to be more of your gaskets and bolts and caps and things like that are important that gets replaced in a timely manner.
Is this something similar to like the water meters that we have on a regular schedule, or share on a regular schedule?
Sort of. So we have this basically we do a survey of your fire hydrants every year just to make sure everything's up to snuff. Should there be an event where they are needed, and so every year after the survey, we'll go through and get a cost estimate of making repairs to the fullest extent.
So the process is we inspect them once a year, and then based on that inspection.
Correct.
And you do that work, Inframark does that work?
Yes, sir. And so, like I said, we have a total. We can do all 17,300, or like I said, there's about 4,300 of more cosmetic side of things, but the 12,009 is going to be, like I said, more the caps, the gaskets, things like that. That need to get that replaced to keep the hydrant at its optimal usage.
For something like a fire hydrant, if it really was, not operational, do you have to wait for a board meeting to get that fixed? You can go ahead and.
Usually if it's broke, we'll go ahead and start making repairs.
Okay, good.
Before we come, I know that's something that's got to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, could you go over one more time the cosmetic aspect that?
Sure. So so basically the hydrant with wrench not spinning is that category, and it's referring to the side caps of the fire hydrants that you put a wrench on it, spin it to take the cap off, and so if the wrench doesn't spin fully, like if it hits a little bit of grass or resistance, they'll mark it as this, and so it would be as simple as hand shovel, pulling some dirt away, and that's all it is. So not needing to like raise the fire hydrants or anything like that. It's just pulling some dirt out around it.
I would say forego that. Digging out an inch of dirt, I don't know, is that a big deal? Is that going to impede the fire department from getting the water they need?
Sometimes it slows them down from getting the cap because they can't spin the wrench, so they have to work it through the ground or the grass to get it off. But it's nothing that's going to affect operation.
So
It slows them down.
Yeah,
In a fire.
Yeah, let's
4,000, I just.
fix it.
So them being able to get that cap off in 30 seconds, it may take them 45.
So I mean, if y'all are happy doing everything, we're happy to do the whole gambit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I vote for all of it.
Excellent. All right. So next item, we flip past in the report past all the fire hydrant items. Just wanted to talk about an outfall located. You can see we'll look at the part of the report with the two images. And so the first one is a from Google Maps. You can see in the upper left-hand corner. You have to pardon my writing with a mouse on a computer, but that's our wastewater treatment plant, where we have our sort of rectangle-looking shape there, circled in red. That's going to be, we have an outfall pipe that goes into that drainage ditch there. And you can see from the picture below, the drainage ditch is very grown up. And so we have a proposal here, which you can see on the next page from LSEC. And on the north side of this ditch is where our pipe comes in. It's just a proposal to get that pipe cleaned out, remove the debris and everything, just make it work as efficiently as possible. I have been in contact with Harris County Flood Control, because this ditch here that's very overgrown is in their scope, and they did inform me that it is in their next project cycle of the T104 project cycle. So their current project cycle is ending this year at T103, so T104 is going to be starting next year. And so I'm going to keep on them so we can get this cleared out, just to make it run as efficiently as possible for the plant. But this proposal is just to clear off the pipe coming in at that north side to remove the debris and everything out of the way.
And this came about from one of your TCEQ inspection for your wastewater plant.
Yes.
It was noted on there that it needed to be cleaned around the outfall pipes. So we recommend that we do this, at least get that portion of it cleaned out so we can submit that to the state and get that cleared up. And then but the county, as Robert said, will come in later, probably next year and do the.
Just so we can get all that over.
Is that just a point repair, or you're jetting the whole pipe from?
Just the point repair, because it's just built up because of this growth, and so we're just clearing that out. And then, like I said, I'll keep on the flood control to get the rest of this channel, all that overgrowth pulled out. Like I said, that's their responsibility, so I'll keep pushing them to get it higher on the priority list.
I've already given them with. Oh, okay.
All right, and then if you flip beyond that, our next item is just a couple of full-page pictures here, just discussion we had talked about last time about flushables and some bill inserts. So I pulled 2 examples that we have here. It is a little gross, but it'll hopefully get the point across of this is what actually happens when you flush things other than toilet paper. So this is, you know, pumps and pipes and things like that, where this is what we call as getting ragged up. So we can definitely get that put in as a bill insert with the water bill, or we can have it done as a separate mailer to go out to all the residents within the district. We can do either way, whatever the board prefers.
I think this is a perfect thing to put on the website.
100%. So like I said, we have the 2 different options. If you want to insert it with the water bill or just have it mailed out as a separate piece of mail, it'd be up to the board on how you'd like to do that.
How much more would it cost to put it in the mailer versus, hopefully our website will be up soon.
Sure. So if we just did the insert for our connection count, it'd be about $1,400. To do a separate mailer, it'd be about $2,200. That's going to be for, you know, for all the accounts we have within the district.
I would probably say let's table it until we get the website up, put it on the website. Say $1,400.
I'm sorry, you said was that a separate billing or that insert?
The $1,400 is an insert. The separate billing is $2,200
for the insert.
Yeah.
2,400 separate.
22.
2,200 for separate. I mean, the website should be up and running. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when the website's up and going, we can send the graphics to Dominic, get it put up. All right. And then just go through our monthly stuff, turning back to our executive summary page behind the cover page. Just the rest of our items here. Water distribution, all of our samples came back compliant. Water received through the 216 interconnect for the month at 1,528,000 gallons. And so that brings us 1,528,000 of 46.1 million. Metered and billed for 45, 10,087,000. For 346, 2,059,000. Accountability showing at 87.3%. Well GPM at 1,535. And then the wastewater treatment collection, all compliant, no excursions. Operations, we had, of course, our monthly flushing in the district. You'll see the meters over 1 million gallons is currently sitting at 0. There's just a supply item at this point, so we'll get those up and going once supply comes back. We do have 2 leak repairs in the district, 2 levels and sods. We did have 1 fire hydrant repair. A valve wasn't closing all the way. It was an immediate item just to not waste water. So we got that fixed. And then some CO2 regulators at the water plant just went bad, so we did a rebuild kit on those to get those back up and running. And then sewer side, standard monthly lab work. We had 2 sewer line repairs within the district. And then on customer care, we had 52 delinquent letters, 6 tags. Flip to the next page. We did have 1 disconnect. And then we have no accounts for write-offs, but we do have 2 accounts for consideration to collections. Both of these accounts totaling $2,540.14. Of course, at this point, all of the accounts have been finalized. All their deposits have been applied to these totals, and so this is the remaining balance for the 2.
These, those commercial or residential?
They were both residential. They both came in June. Everything was closed out in October. No bill was paid on either one. It was just one was $2,200 of that. The other one is $250 of it. So one just had a much higher usage, but neither one of them paid anything, and then everything's been closed out. So with the board's approval, we can send that to collections and see what we can get from it. So just a quick recap on the action items. We have our fire hydrant repairs, the outfall pipe cleaning, and then the bill insert, which will be on hold until website.
And then moving it to it.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Any questions or discussions with respect to the operator's report? Okay. All right. If we could get a motion to approve the 3 items.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda item I, the status of the review of the water conservation plan and drought contingency plan. I know y'all said last month that you won't have any changes to the water conservation. Do you know if you plan on having any changes to the drought contingency?
No.
Okay, all right. So next month we'll have a resolution board for you to adopt saying that 5-year review's been performed and no recommended changes will be. So that's great. Okay. Agenda item J, which is the Harris County 216 agreement. As you guys may recall, due to a couple water plants being down in 2022, you could not get all of your water from 216 due to their well being down. Last year, you could not get all of your water because of your well being down. There have been issues with respect to the invoices because they bill you for the entire 30 million. And then you can just take what you didn't end up taking the prior year, add that onto the $30 million. So I think the operator's report should have, I think it was like 46 million or something. Mm-hmm. Is that you guys? I have received a question from 216's attorney, wondering if you all want to change that agreement so it is no longer take or pay. It is you just pay for what. If you guys may recall, the reason the district entered into the agreement is because you only have one water plant, and over the summer months you didn't want to have that stress on your water plant, and so you entered into the agreement, and usually your operator opens it in May, June, I don't know, they can tell me when you open it, around June, to help with the district's water plant. They have confirmed and discussed with your engineer that you don't actually need the 30 million. I did not call back the attorney for 216 because I didn't know you guys would even want to entertain the idea. I think before the last 2 years, and you guys can confirm this, but you have always taken the 30 million. And so
we would pay more per gallon, just a pay versus.
No, that would just be part of the negotiation. I have no idea what 260 would offer. If it turns really truly into just emergency interconnect, your other emergency interconnects green trails are. So try and do it $1, which is what you pay now, and in addition to regulatory. But,
very good thing.
well, yeah, only for the last 2 years when y'all been unable to take it,
Right.
But before that you did.
We took it
so that's
all.
why I wanted to talk to you guys about it.
There wouldn't be anything preventing us from still taking.
Well, and
I guess
if
it
it's
depends
turned,
on the negotiation. Right?
well, right, and it would depend on the nature of the agreement. Are they going to reserve that 30 million gallons so that way you have it if you need it, or is it just a true emergency interconnect? In which case you can only open it in the case of an emergency. Alan's shaking his head. That's not the discussions that they've had.
Well, no, I mean, as far as interconnect goes, emergency interconnect goes, we can only get so many gallons per minute from them through that line, and it goes directly into your ground storage tank at the water plant. And it's not enough to supplement if your well's down. So really and truly, if your well goes down, that water is not going to be enough to run your water plant.
Right. Or heretofore, we've always taken it because we've needed it during the summer, so when we've had these hot summers there.
Yeah, and it was mainly just to alleviate some of the wear on your well.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But we didn't take it to emergency interconnect, we just took it.
No,
Yeah.
it was part of the agreement that y'all would take it, and that's why it goes directly into your ground storage tank at the water plant.
But
We
could
laid a
negotiate-
line especially for that.
Yeah, so we could negotiate, just a take contract using that same line.
Right,
Should be able to.
but then again, it's, question is, it's gonna be available from them when we need it
Yeah.
or want it. And, you know, did they enter into something else, with someone else to say, well, we really allocated that, you know, volume to another district or something? So those are the give and takes as far as, do we reserve it and pay something for reserving it, or run the risk of it maybe not being there if you need it.
One good thing about it, once you get your other well done, which is down the road in the future, you shouldn't need it at
Right.
all.
Right.
I would say for the next few years,
When would the term of this proposed, I guess we don't even have a term yet, it's too early to say.
I
when
don't.
it
He
would
just
go
wanted
into
to know if
effect.
that was something you guys would entertain, and I didn't know the answer because. So
Are they willing to
asking you
give us the
guys.
40 million? I mean, we've already paid for it. We have that in credit right now.
I mean, unless, because that includes what you have for 2024. So if you guys amend that agreement, that out too. But if y'all are interested in changing the terms of the agreement and it not being take or pay 30 million, I can reach out to the attorney, try and figure out what they're considering, and talk with you guys next. But I just,
So where does our credit balance stand right now for the 2 years?
So we have, so for 2022, that's where the 14.1 comes through. That brought us to, or I'm sorry, 16.1. It's what brought us from 16.1. But brought us from our 30 million in 2023 to 46.1. And so that's a carryover. So last year we used 10.3 million of that 46.1, and so that remainder is left over in addition to 2024's 30 million. So it's getting closer to 60 at this point in total. And so that's kind of where this
So six, we need to use 60 to get caught up under the current agreement.
correct. But of course, their feed rate, as far as I think about 150 gallons per minute, as fast as that pipe can feed into the GST. So mathematically, it would be really, really tight to use that all up by the end of the year, assuming they could run that full amount all the time.
So I guess the question I had would be, of the 60 million that we had kind of credit for, what have we historically used in the summer, and is that I'm picking numbers, is that a 3-year supply of?
So about the 30 million gallons per year makes up about 10% of the district's use. And so, I guess potentially if we use the full 60 in 1 year, it'd be 20% of the water usage.
But I'm talking about then, until a second water well is drilled, do we have a 60 million credit that we could parcel out over 3 years? I'm picking numbers to say, but really we don't need to buy anymore because we got credit for 3 years.
well, the way the contracts go, you have to buy that 30 million every year, regardless of whether you use it or not. So you're paying for 30 million a year, whether you use it or not. And
But
so right now you've got this big
Credit.
absorbent amount built up that we need to use all within this year, plus the other 30 million, because it's just going to keep adding up every year.
Unless you renegotiate.
Yes.
To me, we need to at least negotiate.
Yeah.
Decide what we want. If we're not gonna need it when the well comes online, and that's 96 or something like that, we got a 60 million credit right now.
Yeah.
We need to look, and we're gonna have to change the agreement once the water well comes online anyway,
well, you don't.
Need it.
or cancel it. I mean, that's changed.
Well, sure.
That's why we've opened our interconnect as early as we have, and we've already used 1.5 million gallons.
Yeah.
Because normally we reserve that until the hotter months, June or so.
Right.
So an operational question. So in a typical summer, you open this up somewhere in June, and you run it June, July, August, maybe even into September. And that allows our well to have a,
less runtime.
yeah, I was gonna say, what, are you in the 12 hours? Are you 18?
So when I've looked at it historically, when we've been receiving it from them, it's like 7, 8 hours a day. So
Okay.
very, very minimal.
That's
In
fantastic, yeah.
2022, when their well was down and we didn't receive anything, we didn't even hit our drought contingency. Our stage one's at 18 hours. And so most of that was probably around 12, 14 hours at, its peak times. There might have been a day where it was 17 or 16 or something like that. But of course, last year we did hit our drought contingency, but last year was an extreme drought year.
Yeah.
And, same sort of situation where our plant was down, so we couldn't get their water. But as far as our well run times, we were only in it for a few weeks as far as our numbers are concerned.
And off the top of your head, if we were to not have this contribution of 30 million, let's say we cut it off, we're relying on our one well for the peak summer. I know it's an estimate, right, based on usage, but are we talking, 22-hour run times burden for that well, or is it less than 18?
I would say there might be a couple times where we might get into 18 to stage one voluntary, but most of the time you'd be under that, because when the 2022 data, which we didn't have the 216 feed, we never even hit it, not once throughout the district, or throughout the year, I'm sorry.
And our well should be ready at some middle of 2026. Is that about right? I know we haven't started design yet, but
2020. Well, yeah.
2 years from,
Yeah.
2.5 years maybe, end of 2026.
And yes. And one thing to consider is that, the original well, it's at the end of its life, so the vision for us, we were thinking that eventually this second water well was going to be the main water well down the road, right? So that's something to consider when you start to negotiate. You don't know.
Might need the backup for the second water well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have the new, well pump and motor equipment from
Yeah.
last year. And of course, the booster pumps will be getting replaced and everything like that. So it will be, new efficient equipment in place for the district at this current well.
It sounds like maybe it's worth a conversation. One around how we get to work through this credit. What kind of flexibility can we have to work through this credit? You're saying it's going to be hard for us to get through the 60,000 this year, even if we maximize.
Yeah, assuming the feed rate stays constant and there's not something on the 216 side where they have to,
Slow it
pull
down.
that back a little bit because of their own internal items.
Yeah. But it's hard. It's really kind of a little bit hard to predict because we have this well we're trying to replace, and we don't really know how much longer it's going to be around. And if that well we're trying to replace in 3 or 4 years starts to deteriorate, we're going to be right back to where we started. But having this interconnect is critical to water continuity. If we don't have this interconnect and our well goes down, correct me if I'm wrong, do we have another way to continue to keep feed water into our district?
Yes. So 216, this line we're talking about, doesn't have enough to run our plant in our district, but the West Park interconnect does. It has enough of a feed rate and pressure because that's what we did when our well was down. That was West Park's water.
So West Park alone, we don't
Yeah.
need to supplement with 216.
Correct.
West Park alone will do it.
Yeah, because if ours is down, if our pumps and stuff are down, we can't pump their water because it goes into our GST. So it's only West Park.
West Park.
Correct.
This agreement is an agreement of convenience to lighten the load on our well significantly. So,
And when we thought that back then we were having issues with the summer, we just wanted to have a backup.
so if we fast forward to 2027, correct me if I'm wrong, we'd be fine with 216 being only a reserve interconnect backup at that point. But so now we need to bridge the gap between where we are today and the next 2.5 years. Either keep it the same or chop it to 15 million.
Yeah.
I mean, if 30 million is giving us a runtime of 7 hours a day on a well at peak summer, that's luxury. I mean, that's letting that well just coast in its peak time. So cutting it in half to 15 million. Would you guys agree? That's still a fantastic supplement in the summer months?
100%.
And I would imagine any agreement would need a capacity. Dig your teeth into, write a number. 15 million can't be. Let's take whatever we want. To your point, it has to be a volume capacity.
So what do we, I guess then the discussion is probably focused around now, what do we need to do to bridge that gap from where we are now to get through Do we need to talk with them about managing through this surplus
Yeah.
that we have?
We pay to the end of 2024, or you?
No, you haven't. You get the bill beginning of
Oh, it's in the-
because you don't know how much you take. Sometimes you take more than the 30 million. Well, why don't I, because it seems like you guys are at least interested in changing the terms of the agreement. I can reach out to 216's attorney and see what they're thinking.
Sure.
And Alan and Robert, y'all were discussing within the water 345 could not take last year. I have not had that conversation with that attorney about the invoice for the full 30 million. So did y'all get confirmation from them that they could just take that?
From my conversations with them, it seems like it might be a part of this negotiation where it might, because I suggested, like, since we didn't use it, just do a financial transaction on that side instead of trying to fit this water in and, you know, making sure we can take it all, make sure they can supply it all. So, you know, just make everything easier for all parties, just to make it financial and have that year kind of taken out of this discussion, and then we move on with our credit from 2022 and current year.
That's probably part of the discussion.
Okay, all right, that works. All right, well, y'all will authorize me to reach out to 216, see what they have in mind and talk about that. 2023.
Thank you.
Okay, and
What's our
then
rate? Who's in charge now for the 30 million? So, per 1,000-gallon rate?
It's,
well, it's a calculation. It's $1, but then they add on.
What, a little over $1?
It's a little over $1. They add on some calculation. That was part of the negotiations. They calculate it, and I make sure they calculate it right. So, Mike, I'm not 100%.
In the $30,000 to $35,000 range?
No, it's more than that. Because you also have to pay their GRP fees. So it's double that.
So we actually pay more for that way than we pay for.
No,
Those
your
things,
emergency
you have to
water
pay the
should
GRP.
also have to pay
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta
GRP
pay
fees.
that.
So about the same.
Yeah, no, it should be roughly the same.
What
All right,
do we pay for West Park while we're on the subject?
it's $1 per 1,000 gallons plus their GRP fees,
Okay, so it's all of our, all three of those are about the same price.
except for Green Trails at 3 cents per 1,000 gallons.
We haven't modified that yet.
No, we have that on the agenda. All right, then if I could get a motion to authorize me to somewhat negotiate with 216 and bring it back to you.
Motion.
All right, all second, all in favor? All right, agenda item K is another annual housekeeping item. It is to authorize the annual submission to each electric utility that provides transmission and distribution service to the district and each retail electric provider for determination of the district's facilities that qualify for critical load status. So as a reminder, critical load status is if there is a hurricane and all power went down, you want your district facilities to be identified as critical load. So that way that part of the grid is the first one to be turned back on. Your operator and your engineer come up with the list of district facilities, which nothing should have changed because we don't have our second water well yet, but it should be the same as last year. They will send that list, and then the retail electric provider and electric utilities will determine that they qualify for a critical. I get a motion to authorize them.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 10, report from Stormwater Solutions. Karen is here. Get this one. Karen.
Again, Karen Sears with Stormwater Solutions. It's good to see you all. I handed out a report that looks like this. Did everyone get one?
It's an extra here for your phone.
Okay. This is actually a report that I put together recently for all of my districts and sent it to the engineers to see if it's something that they would like to receive monthly. And it was a yes from all of them. So all of the districts that I work with, their engineers will be receiving this report. If you recall, you have an OGT unit, which is an oil, grit, and trash separator. I came to you once a month per your stormwater quality management plan. We clean out this unit in advance of your stormwater quality permit in Harris County. So we, in conjunction with cleaning that out, we brought a proposal to you all to to consider to clean this out. In addition to that, if you recall, the screens inside of this unit have come, essentially, they're connected to the wall of the unit, and they were disconnected somehow from the wall. So we were going to retrieve those, take them into the shop, and see what we needed to do to repair those. Unfortunately, due to what I consider poor design, they are too wide to get out of the top of this unit. So anyway, I'll just take you through the real first part. This is what I've been sending over to your engineer. So if you turn past the cover sheet, this is going to show you where your OGT unit or storm scepter is located. There's a dark blue. It's really hard to see right here, down here, and it's right in the corner of this resident's house. They obviously have a very nice home and a very nice lawn, so we're going to have to do some work on this unit to open this up wider so that we can get these trash racks out of here and then put them back into this unit and reconnect them to the wall. Then on page number 3, this is when our unit was out cleaning, our Vector truck was out cleaning this unit. You can see the screens. And the following page is just what we do on a monthly basis. Every month as part of a requirement for your permit, we have to clean out, or we have to go and inspect this unit. So this is our inspector report, which Jason will be receiving every month as well. Page number 5 is what our unit that was, our Vector unit that was out cleaning the unit. So all that work's been done, and your permit, of course, we have not been able to renew your permit, which is scheduled to renew this month. So anyway, we do have a proposal on page number 6 to what we'd like to do, and you can see on the following page, I've given you just some information we've now received to give you kind of an idea of what this unit looks like. And what you'll see in the residence lawn is just a manhole lid at the top of this. And that the width across that is 35 inches, and if you look on the following page, the screens are 38.18 inches. So obviously, it's not going to come out of this manhole. So what we propose to do is to open up this manhole lid. There are metal rings that they use to adjust to the height of the ground. We'll remove those rings, and then we're just going to saw cut an area of this precast concrete. Just enough to where we can open it up. We don't want to do, we're trying to do as little as we can here, since this isn't a residence lawn. It's at a corner, there's going to be some traffic control that we'll have to do. Of course, there's street signs and lamp posts and all kinds of things. So we think that we can saw cut this enough to get those screens out. And then on the following page, that gives you kind of a schematic of these screens. What these are actually supposed to be hinged together. So what we'll do is we'll take them in and bolt these back together. And then there's a thick mounting bracket that we'll need to put on each one of these screens. We'll have to weld this to the bearing bar and then take these back out, and we have to use confined space entry to go in and out of this unit due to OSHA regulations. So we'll send out a confined space entry crew to go back in, and then we'll re-bolt these to the inside of this unit. So that's what we propose to do to get this back into compliance. And this is, as I said, it's a trash rack, and it's designed to collect all the floatables so that they don't enter our waterways, which is part of what we do every month when we're inspecting and cleaning out this. So,
Very nice report. What you maintained this previously? If you do anything with it?
no, this is something that we have been inspecting for a
Okay,
period
so
of
y'all
time.
been maintaining
We
it.
maintain it.
You just haven't had to go out and pull the screens.
There's never been any damage, and we're starting to see these underground units. They're fairly new. They've probably been around about 15 years or so. They're one of the newer designs as far as stormwater quality, but they're getting older now, so we're starting to see some failures like this. So we're having to gear up on how we're going to make some repairs to some of these. There's several different styles. Some of them are much more complicated than this, so this one is one of our, one that we don't have to take the entire top off.
Is this the only one for our mud, or is?
Yes, sir. This is the only underground stormwater quality unit that you have.
Yeah, well, as a question, so fast forward 10 years from now, if we have to do all this again, your crew will be able to take those rings off and that saw cut out of the concrete is?
Yes, sir. We think that's the best way, the most cost-effective way to do this, and the less disruptive to your residents.
I was wondering if it was possible to essentially cut these screens in half and make them collapsible.
We
You can get out a 35-inch minute.
We thought about doing that. We're trying to kind of repair them, you know, kind of hinge
Zip
them
ties
right.
would work real well.
Well, that's so funny because we actually talked about it.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as a way to kind of redesign this.
yeah.
So that we don't have to do this again
Yeah.
in the process of repairing.
Exactly. And that's, you know, it is something that we did discuss, if we should make each one of these screens collapsible itself.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it's bolted to the wall. So, you know, hopefully we're going to get this bolted to the wall. We're not going to have this anymore. We're not real sure that this was initially designed as well as it, or constructed as well as it should have been. So, you know, our intent is to get this done correctly now. Nothing lasts
So
forever.
it's a pretty rare event that just became unbolted from the wall.
Exactly. There are other wrinkler units out there, and we've not seen this happen yet. That's not to say that it won't. In this particular unit, it has happened.
And so so our permit expires in
It's
April?
this month.
In March,
Right.
in March. So what happens if we don't get this completed by the time our permit?
You know, Harris County, you are a government entity, so you don't see fines all that often. Of course, we that's part of our job is to keep these renewed and not let these expire. This one might expire before we get this completed, but if Harris County says anything, then obviously we've got this in hand to say this is what's happened to this unit. The board has authorized us to make a repair to it, so this permit will be renewed as soon as we get this repaired. So there shouldn't be any fines in Harris County.
Motion for repairs.
All right, got a motion from Mike. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Karen, did you give us your 1295?
I will send it to you.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you. All right, agenda item 11 is the status of the installation of the hike and bike underpass on Fry Road by Willow Fork Drainage District. Have not received any sort of update. I don't know if anybody's seen me on.
I would say.
Okay, all right, no update. Agenda item 12 is the Green Trails Monthly Report. We have the January report for you guys, along with the beat activity report and the February report and the February beat activity report. We did not get the January one prior to last month's meeting, so you have a lot of security reports for y'all. As you know, no action items, but if y'all have any questions, please let us know, and we're happy to pass along questions. Agenda item 13 is the mass communication messaging system and the status of the creation of the district website. I told you guys last month that our firm received the request of documentation from Classic Messaging for the website. We have sent all of the documents, or I guess the majority of the documents, if you have somewhere to send them, along with verbiage for background of the district and all that type of stuff. I have asked Dominic to send me a draft of the website. I don't really know how to say that, but for me to look at it and make sure everything is updated before he presents it to you guys. So hopefully we will get that in short order, and then it will be presented to you all before live. But it's still just in process. Any questions? Agenda item 14 is the amendment to the emergency water supply contract with Green Trails. Brett, I brought up that you had that discussion with Dick Deal last month and board didn't want to do anything until you could kind of explain the situation. So, as far as I know, this has not been on Green Trail's agenda or discussion.
No, just on my discussions with Doug, he just mentioned they were going to go on interconnect. They were doing some well work with another district, but also thought it was a good idea to go ahead and amend our rate order we had with them for emergency supply to the dollar, which is what we had recommended some time ago. He said that's what most districts are also, which I told him that's why we were recommending it. But anyway, so thought that they would go along with that. Going to go ahead and see about getting them to amend their rate from the 3 cent dollar.
For y'all, I mean, it's beneficial to both districts. So I don't know why we wouldn't, but all right, if y'all can authorize me then to reach out to the Green attorney and make the official request to amend it to $1 per thousand.
Motion, vote, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 15, attorney's report. I do not have anything additional, guys. Agenda item 16 is potential litigation involving the district. We'll go into closed session to talk about that. Agenda item 17 is actually going into closed session, so it is 1:21 p.m. We will go into closed session pursuant to 551071 and 551072 of the Thank y'all. Oh wait, I guess I should ask consultants. Is there anything y'all need to add to a future agenda?
I don't know if this is a agenda type item. We have a new person in our environmental services groups that signs the DMRs that go